Good morning. Today I decided to share something on thankfulness or anything that comes. So I'll start off with a simple apple. We go to the store and we buy this beautiful apple because we need it to live. So let's trace the path of the apple. In our trace of thankfulness, first we have to thank the grocer who has the apple, so he has the store and we get to go buy it. Next, we have to thank the person that stocked it on the shelf, so we thank the stocker also. So then we have to thank the person that traveled and brought the apple, the driver of probably a truck most likely, that brought it from the farm. So we have to thank that driver also because he has driven so far and took many hours. It might have taken him away from his family. So we have to thank his family for that sacrifice of having to miss him for a very long time. So we thank that driver also. We thank the people who made the truck. We can go on and on. But then we have to go and see where he gets the apple from the farmer. So the farmer is also so important in this journey of this apple. So we have to thank the farmer. Now, the farmer plants it from a seed. He probably has other apple seeds, or he has to get it from somebody who sells apple seed, or another farmer, who's his friend and said, here, I am giving you some apple seeds. So we have to thank that person who had the apple seeds, from another crop or something. So now the farmer plants it in the ground. He puts it in the soil. So we have to also thank the soil, the earth, because if there was no soil or earth, no seed can grow without that. Then after he plants it, it needs water, it needs sunlight, it needs open space, it needs air, it needs all of that in order to flourish. So this is why the elements are also important. The sun is so important. Without it, nothing can grow and we wouldn't be here. The rain, the water is essential, and it's like 80-85% of our body. So the plant cannot live without the water also. The air is necessary to breathe. The plant breathes in from the atmosphere, and that's how the plant grows. It needs that carbon dioxide oxygen cycle. So everything is important. So we have to thank all the elements also. Then now the seed grows, the trees grows, we nurture it. The farmer walks around loving his plants. And what do we have now? The tree starts to blossom. So now there are flowers there. So who do we thank? We have to thank the bees now. Without the bees, there would be no pollination, or you'd have to hand pollinate it or do some other thing, maybe in modern farming methods. So the bees are one of the most essential workers also. If there were no bees or butterflies, how would things get pollinated? We would have no food. So now we have to thank that. So the thing is, why does the bee go to the flower? There's a love attraction there. The bee loves the flower. The flower attracts the bees. So there's a love story there. So that is coming from love. The Creator has embedded that. It's a love story. So whole of creation comes down to a love story. So anyway, the fruit comes from the flower. It grows into this tremendous apple here. And so that's how we got the apple. So there were so many things. But when we put the seed in the ground, when you look at the seed, it looked like a tiny seed without anything in it. at the atomic level, what is it? You know, what is the feature of that seed? So within that seed lies a process, a life process. It's a creation process. It's a God process. So within that tiny seed is the thing that you cannot manufacture anyway. It's the life force, the life process of the created self. So the creation and the creator is one inside there. Because without that, if the seed doesn't have that life force, it's going to die. But what is that life force? That tiny piece of life force that we think is tiny, we think it's puny. But what is that process? We cannot create that process. Even when a baby is coming, it's the same thing. It's a life process that's happening. We cannot create the soil that apple tree had to grow. We cannot create anything. We can just be a part of it. But if we can see the connection of everything, we can know that when we thank God, we are thanking all these things, but we are thanking all the dimensions of the Creator also. We see God in only one dimension, but you have to see God in all dimensions of life. And this God process is there. So we are co-creators of what is around us because we have this consciousness that we're seeing and we're part of. And if we can live and teach our kids the connection to everything, how everything is important, then they would not be so, we would not be a society just thinking about ourselves. We would think about how the whole ecosystem binds together and how we can be part of creating a wonderful world together. After this big pandemic, this is the time where we can create a society and bring up children that would be more, they will understand what life and the life force and what their role is as a man, as women, as creators, of co-creators of this creation. Because if you are thankful to all these things, then you see how everything is connected. You understand how important it is, how everybody and everything is important, and you wouldn't, pollute the place or cause, you would try to create a world where there is no global warming. You'd try to create a world where the earth is a happy place. Whatever we give out into the atmosphere, if we give out hate and anger, that's what Mother Nature is going to bring back at us. And essentially, if we look at everything, there's a love story behind it. It's not the same kind of love story you're looking at, because we only think of God from a human